All right, good morning, good day. Welcome back to the African Crypto Warlord show. Hope you guys are doing well. Yep, if you watched the last stream, whatever it is, the last video up we uploaded, we're giving these 105 regions and obviously to the downside, also big targets. The targets to the downside haven't changed, but we'll get into it. I think it's been over 10 days or something since I've done a Bitcoin analysis. So let's smash it. This is the 15-minute cone. We will get back here, but just so you guys know, we finally cleared the daily VRE mean. So it's always a magnet. That's where Bitcoin feels safe. As you can see, we're coming into some highly statistically significant probabilistic levels of the Laplace distribution cone. Okay, hold here. More than likely want to shoot back up. Start failing below 103 on MEX, 103, 500. Start pushing down. More than likely, this weekly's target would be 101,300, so $101,300 is where it sort of wants to be sometime during this week. I would expect it to go there, okay? So that is a general observation there, and is this outside of its outliers on this current 15-minute? It is. So if it does fall down and hold below that target that I said there, $103,500 starts closing below there, more than likely going to try creep into the edge of this cone down here, but we can see that we have some levels sitting here, at least on this 15-minute print down here. All right, it's in between our two statistically significant levels. All right, I'm going to go from super high time frames to super low time frames. I'll more than likely just end it here on the 15. All right, so long story short, this is the 90-day. We have 9 days and 12 hours before BTC prints a new candle, and either you'll get some good direction off of it or you're going to move into consolidation. But the general idea being is if it can at least close the next candle at the same price it closed on, so if the 90-day candle can open and close at its same price, that's technically telling you it's consolidation. If it can close, even if it's $100 higher than when this 90-day opens in 9 days' time and closes $100 higher, that will definitely allow this RO to tick through to the upside, and you might get a continuation push. If it closes $100 lower than this current 90-day open, we're waiting for it to close. If the next open closes $100 below, then this becomes a little bit more squirmish, and we'll start to see on the lower term timeframes where the bears can actually set up. But for now, to me, I'm sort of sitting in the middle of no man's land if I was to trade this chart that I see right here on the 90-minute, given I don't have my direction oscillators for volatility. Okay, 45 days, same observation here, and that's going to close in 9 days and 12 hours. We have 50-50 in volatility. I don't think it would be too hard to trigger this thing back into expansion mode, and thus you carry on pushing up to the upside. One thing I would look for is when this candle does close, how close does my RO oscillator get towards mean reversion? Because if it can hold, if it hits the line, then I know it's going to be a fight for consolidation when it prints. If this line prints below it, then I know it's going to be a lot harder for the bulls to push through. But if this line over here pretty much closes, even if it's like a fraction of a millimeter higher than this mean reversion line, I know that the bulls will initially have the pace to the upside, okay? So 9 days there's going to be a lot of noise to be had, at least not within the next 9 days, but 9 days from now, okay? Here we have the 21-day. You never really want to get on the wrong side of 21-day, but only when it crosses, okay? So that's in 6 days and 12 hours. I'm generally guessing that this is going to cross, and I've been saying consolidation. Why? Because if this 21-day does cross to the downside, the momentum indicators do cross to the downside, returns are starting to decay, I would expect this thing to try and hold positive drift. So the momentum bots will be selling into it, whilst the volatility bots will be buying it up, okay? And you could just look at that as an equal sum. All right, so that's going to trigger the consolidation if these rules still do print correctly, okay? So this is contracting in volatility, whilst negatively correlated, that's small candles up. This is starting to cross to the downside at these levels, at these outliers, or whatever you want to call them. Those are going to start trying to trigger small candles down. So you can see how they balance it out. Okay. Here we have the 14-day. 14-day also sort of caught in positive drift as well. The reason why this thing hasn't shut the whole bed as of yet is, yes, the oscillators are pointing down on the 14-day. Here, ALR is actually starting to trigger down. Is the simple fact that this thing's still caught in positive drift. Yes, it's losing its trend like the 21-day time frame we just looked at, but it's still caught in positive drift. So that's sort of what's holding the momentum bots from pushing this thing back down. Okay, and that's that. 7-day, now we started to get into Laplace distribution cones. So 7-day has pretty much just printed about 12 hours ago. And just for basic observation, I'll actually do this one quite thick. Yes, we're having a mean reversion to the downside, but it hasn't played through as of yet. If I was to see this mean reversion play through, which could make for like a bull dev, a hidden bull dev or whatever, I would be looking for at least the first touch at 100 grand, 100,000, call it on this print, $100,750 on Poloniex. Furthermore, maybe a wick into 98 or 97. What's that? Okay, let me just super zoom here because that's a whole 1% difference at these prices. $97,642. I would expect an initial wick over there. And where's that other one's at about 101,000, the weekly VRE. And on this side, $92,500. Okay. Now, for a longer term analysis, this might, if it does fail here, it's been testing this a few times, but let's say it does come back down and retest. I do look at that as quite, if it holds this pink line here on the right, I look at that as an insanely bullish posturing. This thing's going to fucking rip to the upside, okay? General idea, if it starts failing that, what did I say, 97,700 region, it's going to want to try and push into this 92. Again, it has an opportunity for a second touch, but now I start to get a little bit uneasy as I know we can move into like 8 grand price action for like up and down for like 3 to 4 weeks quite easily. But general idea, if it does fail this region, I would look for a mean reversion, simply put, at 45,382. Next target to the upside would be about 4,800. Next target 62,000. You can say 71, but I'll just leave it at 62, okay? But now, if it can hold this pink line, you get some insanely stupid targets, okay? And you start looking at stuff like, well, this one's not too stupid, given Bitcoin's been on a little bit of a rippo, at about $135,550, okay? But ultimately, if it can hold this pink line, it wants to pretty much shoot itself up here to $271,500, and it's matching up here around about $260,000. So that is usually a mean reversion play, okay? And yeah, if it can hold this pink line, I do expect Bitcoin to at least try push for 135, hold 135, bang, off to the races to the upside. 250 grand or whatever it is over here, 275 to 260 grand. Okay, if she's, as we said, if she starts failing, well, lowest target I would have, if she starts failing those pink lines, lowest target I would have is $34,100. Okay, so 7 days a little bit etchy, a little bit sketchy, given we've just opened it up, not much volatility, because this candle's still quite small in comparison to the one it just came from, okay? So this is the 5-day. 5-day, pretty interesting. I do dig it. I would have expected Bitcoin to hit $108,166, okay? I will say this, there's hidden bull div, then there's that's regular drive of bear div coming through. Little bit choppy here, so we'll go back to this one and we'll just say that the hidden bear div will play through if BTC starts closing below $97,700. The bull div will start playing through to the upside if Bitcoin can hold above $97,782. Okay, for at least this reading on the 5-day cone. Now back to the on the 7-day cone. Now back to the 5-day cone. 5-day cone. I would, as I said, I would have expected that 108,000 target to be hit. It's quite a lot of noise, not much I can get out of this, but I just know that thing should have been hit. All right, 108. Holds 108. The next target to the upside is 122. Let's see if there is a colorful line at that 200 region. So 162, no cone pushing up to 200. All right, that's the top side of the cone. Gets drastic over there, okay? 5-day not really helping us out, but it is saying at this current price, even though Bitcoin's going down on the daily, like during the stream, it's sort of starting to lose its positive drift. I would expect that it loses its positive drift anything below $100,300. If it starts closing below there in this 5-day candle, I would say that bear div, this DLP, they start to have a good significant push to the downside, okay? 3-day, let's see, 3 days again stuck in 50-50, so a little bit of a tetchy time up here at this $1,300, $1,500, $103,000 to $105,000 Bitcoin. A little bit tetchy. Any failure, I'm guessing, would add up to about this orange line in here. They won't let me grab it, so I'll just do it on its last kink. $101,000 to $102,700. All right, you start holding above those regions on these 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. It could get quite bullish, but no, that's the line in the sand, right? So you start failing below that, it could get rather bearish, at least for a quick wick down or something. So 3-day is mean reverting to the upside. We've got about 11 hours left of this. Does look good. I would expect if this thing was to be super bullish, the smaller they make this candle, whilst trying to keep these momentum indicators positive, the easier it will be to have the next 3-day become super bullish. All right. Smaller the candle, the next candle you make big really does shoot it up. 24-hour, let's see, negative drift. So that's not helping here. Negative drift, outlier sort of met on the ROs quite nicely. Trying to push for a mean reversion to the downside. Might move into 50-50. I will have to observe this as this is quite close, but this is still negative drift. If it does dump and I see my PC, my little white line actually trigger this side, then I know I've got consolidation at least for the next 10 hours. And that would now start to maybe back a bullish bias. Just would have to see how that 3-day candle plays out within 12 hours of it printing. Here's the 12-hour. 12-hour mean reverting down, waiting for the general market also to try and start getting short. Let's see there. That's 50-50. The next best phase I would expect is volatility to contract and these PCs get stuck in the negative phase, which would mean that there's a positive drift. If it does want to leak a little bit more, you are looking at about $103,000. Okay. 12-hour not looking too good. Let's see, at least for the bulls. And let's see here. Okay, I can see what's happening here. Any closes above this daily VRE here at $103,650, I would say that could put in maybe a last little fight for the bulls to the upside, at least for today and into tomorrow, maybe so that half-life could be about 12 hours to about 24 hours worth of another push to the upside if it is strong. If it starts failing this daily line in the sand at $103,650, I do look for another push down into more than likely this weekly range that's just printed today at $101,300. Okay. 6 hour, let's see if there's anything intraday for those that are watching. A little bit of hidden bull div. Hidden bull div will hold if it starts closing 3-hour candles above $103,650. Hidden bull div can hold. This is technically a dump mode that's trying to come in here, so I think it's a 90-minute or 45-minute that's trying to turn this around, at least for maybe a lower higher if it was to hold here. We'll just have a looky-see. So 90-minute negative drift. This might take quite a while to actually play out, so you're going to find in about 2 hours after market open, a US market open on Monday today, there's more than likely going to be a lot of noise in here. Let's try wick both sides. And then towards the end of the session, as it starts to close the US market, you'll get a good direction off of it. and 45 minute negative drift, positive drift. Okay, so there are a lot of guys playing in here. Let's go have a look at our 15-minute cone. Pretty good. It's saying that these regions are to be played. We start failing this blue line, we get more bearish, so $103,550, you could say. That's where the bears will take over the market. You hold above there, at least for intraday scalps, I'd be looking anything to the upside. If it is bullish, I'd be looking for this $104,500 region. Okay, hold above there. Your next lower high attempt is at $105,233. Let's see, blue to blue. We're still setting lower highs. That's all the way back up to 106. Where's 106 on this side? It's about the top side of the cone. Okay, so it's still technically a lower high on those wicks. Yeah, as we start getting to the outside of this cone, shit starts to get a little bit more wild. But we do have the 1, 2, 3 level up on our daily target for 107,658. Okay, but now that's only going to come for any one of the targets is only going to come if you can see Bitcoin actually break its initial first attempt at trying to set in a lower high. So if it can actually break through this, you'd be looking at about the move will only start to those $100,700 targets if you get above 104,260. Furthermore, 104,500. Now to the downside, I think we've already done that. We'll just keep it quite simple. So we have hit the top side of the cone. I'll actually do this right now. That's actually good. So I have hit the top side of the cone. Long story short, mean reversion on the cone is at $102,350. You start failing this pink initially, you're going to come and try touch this pink here at $102,567 with a positive skew in it. So it can actually be quite a bullish pop here, even if it does get down to 101,300. All right. The skew on the left is to the upside, and the skew on the right is to the upside. Let's just go have a look at volatility, see if there will be any reads soon. Not looking like there will be any reads soon. Okay, so this weekly target is actually in the book, and it could be a bullish bounce, given if this 15-minute cone doesn't print. As long as volatility doesn't hit 0, then this 15-minute cone would tell me once we hit this weekly, more than likely going to get a good bounce out of this. Okay. Yeah, if you guys found this information helpful, please do like and subscribe. Yeah, line in the sands have been drawn. I think the daily is going to be this will be quite a nice trade, about 2 or 3% either side over here worth of trades to have. Much power, stay fucking well. African Crypto Warlord, out.